Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North East Non-League Show, sponsored by DJ Private Hire, Gateway and County Services Limited, Elite Goalkeeper Academy, Motive 8, and Danny Lay Heating and Plumbing Services. Tonight is our Spennymoor show review, and it, just as we've been saying the last 3 episodes, it seems to be getting better as we go on. A little bit more to look forward to, a bit more smiles tonight, I would imagine, on the show. Good season to chat about, lads.
Ups and downs, but in the main, generally good, yeah.
Well, I think we've had 3 out of 10 ratings so far, so I think he's might quick above them from who we had on so far, Blythe, Darlow and Hartlepool. So I think he's above the 3 out of 10 rating for the season, I would imagine, at the end of the show. So I think it should be a bit more positive tonight. But where do we start? I mean, it's just crazy. Obviously, we had the show planned tonight and all the breaking news of all the contracts getting signed today. I mean, we've got to start there. What's your thoughts on the contract signings?
I think it's our going before today. I think our best signing was already made with Spike renewing his contract. But to tie down Taylor and Rama is massive. You know, they've been big part of the club, big part of the club's history, and a big part of our recent success. So to get them two tied down is excellent. To get Corey tied down, you know, the back end of the season for him, he was superb. So he fully deserves that as well.
Yeah, no disrespect to the rest of the players, but like Rama and Taylor are the main two at our club, really. Yeah. They're the spearhead going forward, and without them, we wouldn't be where we are today, really. So to get them on is massive.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know if there was much chat about possible leaving, because I mean, when we put the news obviously into our group, shared it from the Spennymoor page, there was quite a few fans thought they were kind of signing him. Taylor over the South Shields, I think there was a fan mentioned it. Darl, it was quite strange to see, but I think there was only one club he was ever going to sign for, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was always going to, like he said in his interview today, realistically, it was always really only going to come to Spennymoor. And I heard rumours about him going to Darlington, but I think that was just fans gossiping. I don't think that was ever really going to come. I don't think he would have ever left Spennymoor. He's hard to hear. Like he said in his interview, he loves the place.
Yeah, but I think it's good just to get the news out. The season just finishing, managers staying, players signing contracts. It's good to start some off like that, and hopefully some recruitment coming as well. And just on the Grimley, like you mentioned as well, Dan, it's huge news. Is it a 1-year deal? I haven't kind of seen the deal. Is it just 1 year that he signed?
As far as I know, it is. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think quite a few of us were under the illusion that he signed a longer contract anyway. You know, I was a bit surprised when I realised it was only until the end of the current season. But the fact that he's committed, you know, the way that him and Clarkey turned our season round was nothing short of incredible, to be honest. But yeah, for me, that's the most important sign of the summer.
Yeah, and with the 1 year deal as well, do you agree with that? Or I know we had the Darlow fan on last night and kind of mentioning Watson on the 2-year deal where he's got kind of a couple of years to build something. But do you think it's quite hard at this level where, like you say, a few poor results, the questions asked against the manager, or like you say, they could be looking at going to the football pyramid as well? What do you think about the 1 year deal?
Yeah, I would prefer him to have 2, but you can see from probably his point of view and the clubs where they're coming from, because financially it might not be viable.
Exactly.
If things go wrong, then obviously you're paying them out. Obviously, we hope it doesn't go wrong, but on the other boot, if it goes well, yeah, you just don't. I think 1 year is probably about right. Obviously, it suits him, or he wouldn't have accepted it anyway. But I'm the same boat as Dan. I thought it was already signed up anyway. We didn't realise he was out of contract as well, so it's a massive bonus.
Well, it was quite a crazy rate, wasn't it? You're seeing obviously, we know how mad it was in December, all the managers leaving, but we kind of had the same time where all the managers got re-signed the contracts in the same week. I don't know what's going on there. It seems to be crazy in the North East of the managers coming and going in the contracts and stuff as well. And I think that gets on to obviously squad changes. And I know we chat about the last show kind of coming towards the end of the season. Might say 1 or 2 players that's been there long term kind of leave. Obviously, there will be players coming in and out. I mean, what's your thoughts kind of on the squads and possible players leaving over the next couple of weeks?
I think we will see naturally 2 or 3 go. I would like to see the majority of the squad kept together, and I think they probably will be. But as in football, people move on, people get better offers, people go, people come. But I'm sure whoever goes, if anybody does go, Spike and Clark, you'll have people lined up, and Anthony Lee, who's doing a bit of scouting. They'll have them all lined up behind the scenes, ready to come in if need be anyway. So no matter who we have on that first game of the season, I have no doubt we'll have a really good year again.
Yeah, agree with that one, Dan.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what Desi just said. It's, you know, it's that time of year, isn't it, where players they'll decide. They've probably already made their mind up. The Spike and Clarkey will have a good idea of who's staying, who's going. You know, I think we've got, me personally, I think I've got a pretty good idea of who'll end up leaving the club. But you know, you kind of fault them for the caliber of players that they brought in at the beginning. You know, like Matty Dole and people like that, who just brought a real calmness to the club. I don't think the recruitment will be too different. To be honest, I think he'll go for a couple of experienced heads. You know, players who know the level, players who know how to handle the level. And then I really do think we'll kick on next year. But then again, I've been on this probably 3 times pre-season and I've said the same thing. So
it's the hope that kills you every time, isn't it?
It does.
Crazy, isn't it? Even the Mason, he's just asking there, would the lads take the Fundu back as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think definitely 100%. I mean, when he left, he was fantastic going forward, but he wasn't the best defender. And when he's come back under the coaching of Spike, he doesn't seem to get his foul as much, but he's defended 100% better. But yeah, I agree. I think I would take him back if we could have had that chance. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think as well, looking at the recruitment, obviously when he first came, it was all the local kind of northeast lads that he's worked with as well. And I know over the last summer there was a few players came with further fields, and I think with the local sides around here, when you get the lads playing from the northeast or who's playing the area, I don't know personally, but I think it just means a little bit more playing for the local sides. Do you think that as well?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, I think when Bern and John were in, and they brought some lads from outside the area, and you know there was a little bit of a clash in the dressing room, and I think that sort of led to maybe why they ended up moving on. But get the local lads back in. They know about the history of the club, recent history anyway. They know what sort of trajectory the club's on. They've seen the attendance has grown, all that sort of stuff. And the pool of players in the North East, they all pretty much know each other anyway, right down from Northern League, right the way up to National League. You know, it's not a bad place to be if you're a sort of non-league footballer.
Yeah, and if you look at the leagues this season, the likes of Bishop promoted, Stockton promoted, so the pool's getting bigger and better players in anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we just mentioned last night, even just like the pitch in Division 1 East, obviously Hebburn win the league, Stockton going up for the playoffs, and some of the players, I mean, you look at it like the likes of the Dunstan striker who didn't go up, Jack Maskell banging in goals for fun, and some of these lads are just going to get mentioned. And because now we've got that football pyramid, there's going to be, if one player comes available, there's going to be so many teams chasing now. It's going to be a crazy summer, I think, now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we've been linked with Maskell just within sort of our inner circle. I don't know if it's true or not, but you're always going to get them sorts of rumours, aren't you? This, you know, someone who's scored as many goals as he has this season, and almost Aidan Rutledge-esque, but
yeah,
you know. So, but it's a big step. It's a big step between pitching in Division 1 and National League North.
That's it. I think he's just gone on holiday, so I think he'd be switching his phone off already. But I think he'll be a busy lad once he comes back. I think there'll be a few teams on the phone as well. And just looking now at last season, I mean, Dan, starting with yourself, what was your thoughts on the season overall?
Started off with real optimism. You know, at one point, I think we were 6-7 games in, we were top of the league. We were all saying, you know, this end it now. This is it. We're going up. You know, we winning games. We winning well. We playing well. You know, Chan gave us a real sort of identity. and then it's no secret about our mid-season slump. We always tend to have one, but this one was a little bit longer than normal. It wasn't for the want to try. Louis Dickman and Andy, both really, really good coaches, top lads. And like I said before on the last show we did, we just didn't have that luck. We just needed a little bit of luck. And I think if we scored a goal and if it went in off someone's backside or whatever, or someone toe poked it into the top corner, it was that was all that we needed to turn it around. And unfortunately for them, it just didn't come. But then obviously moving on to Spike and Clarky coming in at the start, the results weren't quite there. Again, performances weren't bad, and it was just luck. But then I think we went to Southport, didn't we? And we won that. We won down there, and that was
yeah.
And after that, we just went on that unbelievable run. But again, in the last show we mentioned, didn't we, that if any club could go on a run, then it'd be us. We tend to do that, and then we end up winning our last 9 games at home, and it's just maybe our away form. South Shields away, beaten by the better side. We never really put a glove on them that day. Alfreton away, again we didn't play bad down at Alfreton, but we had a few chances and it just wouldn't go in for us. And then you're looking at towards the last couple of games of the season, and you're relying on other teams to do you a favour, and it just didn't come. But I think I said, if we finished inside the top 10 from the position we were in at Christmas, that would be a great season. And I think it has. I think it's been a really good season. It's been one of them. It's been almost sort of a transitional period for us on the pitch. Curtis retiring, Sparky leaving, Chandler leaving. There's only really Rammer and Taylor left out of that sort of playoff final squad. But yeah, overall, I don't think we can grumble about where we finish. It's probably about where we deserve to be.
Yeah, great that one, does he?
Yeah, I think if you cut it into sort of 3 sections, I think all 3 sections would be identical. You've got your first part of the season under Chandler where we were literally top 4 form, and then you've got the middle bit under Andy and Lou. Again, no disrespect to them, it just didn't work out for them for whatever reasons. But then you've got we in the bottom 4 for them, and then when Spike and Clarky come in, we're back to the top 4 again. But overall, I suppose you are where you are. But I think I would have took top 8, top 9 if somebody had said, especially come Christmas time when we were looking down instead of up, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, looking at them going at that last kind of period of the season and things start picking up, and obviously the big news Taylor coming back as well, I thought that would be the key thing just to get you over the line to the playoffs. I mean, what was the feeling like going to that last couple of, obviously the last game of the season, only had to get points elsewhere, different teams winning? It's not nice to do, but what was it like that full line whistle, knowing just missing out kind of 3 years in a row again by the playoffs?
It really is awful. The only worst feeling is probably getting beat on penalties in the playoffs, because that's absolute torture. But yeah, I mean, it's 3 years in a row now. I think last year was even worse, because after 85 minutes last year on the last game of the season, we were something like 5th, and then 2 teams scored and put us out the playoffs with literally an injury time. But I mean, this year, realistically, we knew even if we did win the last day, we really had to win the week before at Alfred to have a chance. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But we're proud of where we are. Like I said, we've come from nowhere at Christmas time to be even in with a shout at the playoffs is quite a magnificent achievement, really.
No, it was really good. I mean, that was your feelings, that full line whistle?
Yeah, just Desi's hit the nail on the head. Really, it was. We were going into it thinking, yeah, we've left ourselves too much to do. Yeah. Realistically, if we'd had come off, it would have been an absolute miracle. But even when we went 1-0 up, we went 1-0 up quite early. I think 7 or 8 minutes. Des, was it when we scored? And and people are checking the phones, and we in, and And then I think 5 minutes later, Shield scored. So then they were in. And then obviously Boston ended up sneaking ahead of both of us. And obviously they went on to get promoted. But that's the only thing. We're not guaranteed 6 points off them next season.
I was going to say, we beat Boston home and away every year. And then they beat us in the playoffs. Well, they beat us to the playoffs, should I say.
Yeah, but it's just, that's football, isn't it?
That's it, isn't it? I know it's very early, obviously, still just at the start of May, but looking at next season, obviously, you're going to see players coming in, well, pretty much going over the next couple of weeks for any more signs are made. I mean, looking at the squad, possibly that might go out now and squad for next season, which positions kind of do you look at now and say, right, we must focus on that area, bringing 1 or 2 players? Is there anything that really stands out from last season?
I think we need to focus on on trying to keep Brad James at the club.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that. I think our priority realistically has to be trying to keep. Now we've got Taylor and Ramos signed up. We've got one end of the pitch sorted. We now need the other sorted. So I think trying to keep Brad James is a must because he was outstanding for us them last few months of the season. Like he's massive.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him go higher, to be honest. But from our point of view, it would be nice to tie him down to a contract, and then a club have to come in and pay a fee for him.
Yeah, I would like you say, I'd like to see him sign maybe a year deal, but with the promise if somebody comes in a few months, offering him full-time football, then you wouldn't stand in his way. You would wish the lad well. But I think on the flip side, I'm sure if he decides to go, I'm sure again Spike and his team have somebody ready to come in if need be. Anyway, I'm sure they'll have a list for every position, just in case people do go.
Yeah, I think we need to do our best to keep all the Reece as well. Reece Staunton.
2 big names put forward in the votes.
He was so underrated at times last year.
He had a bit of a slowish start, but then he picked up and he was outstanding towards the end. Really good.
He got his just rewards at the end of the season. Picking up. I think he picked up all 3 major awards: players player, fans player, and managers player as well. I think he got, didn't he? Yeah,
he got them all. Yeah, he won everything.
Yeah, so he's an important one that I think we need to try and keep hold of. And Ben Pollock and Becker, they were both outstanding. Obviously, John Lafudu, if he comes in, I think our wingers, obviously Corey's already signed. I think we could probably do with another winger in. Centre mids look pretty strong. If Will Harris stays, him and Taylor, and Rama can play up there. I don't think we're a million miles away. It's just who. It would have been nice to get the return list out today.
I think if we keep the nucleus of the squad, we already 3/4 of the way there, to be honest.
Yeah.
And if we had 3 or 4 bits of quality players in to the one what we've got, I think we'll not be far away. I think like Dan said, I think maybe a right winger playing up beside the Corey or something could come in and maybe we might have to replace Shrimpton, who's gone back to Scunthorpe. He was on loan. He was a really good player for us as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we get them 2 positions sorted and keep the nucleus of what we've got, obviously if people go, they'll have to be replaced. But if we keep what we've got, I think we'll not be far away.
Yeah, Rossi, Danny Greenfield, both really underrated players again, in my opinion. Just went about the business, didn't sort of make a fuss when they weren't out the squad, or they just worked hard, got back in. And Danny Greenfield, I thought, was superb the last sort of third of the season. Rossi he didn't start the first couple of games, did he, under Spike? Yeah. But then obviously 40's way back in the team and was just outstanding. Yeah.
Again, his work rate was second to none. Well, second to Robbie's, because no one's ever going to beat Robbie's work rate, but he could.
Yeah, and Rossi was just a bit unlucky with a couple of niggly injuries that he had. But he worked his way back into the squad and put in some good shifts, good performances from the bench.
Yeah, Rossi's a bit like sort of David Batty. He'll do the donkey work and he doesn't really go unnoticed. But you need that type of player in there. But he's a really good player. He just doesn't get as noticed as much as maybe some of the flair players, shall we say?
Yeah. Doing that just allows Matty Dolan just to tick over and just get us playing. You know, Rossi or Danny or whoever's in there with him does the running for him, and then Matty picks up the pieces and he'll get us playing forward. He'll get us playing on the front foot, and he just goes about his business as well. You know, it's midfield is probably our strongest sort of depth wise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just whether we can keep hold of them all and whether we can keep them all happy.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Like you say, it's very positive, and I think with Spike, I think obviously seeing the contract signed today and it's kind of getting the business done early, and I think you'll start to see over next week or so players coming in as well. I think just want to get that squad ready for pre-season, seeing really organised and really switched on, which as a fan seeing the management like that, it's always good to see as well. So we're looking forward to see who comes in as well. We're on our quick fire round now, so we've got 8 questions that we're going to go for both of you, just kind of going over the season, best and worst. And stuff like that. So starting with yourself, Dan, number 1, what would be your biggest high of the season?
Oof. It's not very quick fire this because I'm thinking. I think I mean I wasn't there because I was at work, but I think that Southport win, Spike's first win. I think you just seen the momentum change. As soon as our final whistle went, there was just a different feel, and I think that was the best moment to know that, you know, we've come out of that sticky period and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, and yourself, Desi?
From a personal point of view, I would say Bishop's Stortford away. There was 6 of us went down there on the Tuesday night. When we got there, the pitch was absolutely horrific. Redcar Beach would have been easy to play on, to be honest. It wouldn't have been played at any other point of the season because they were done. We must have agreed to play on it. But obviously, when you get a last-minute winner, it's always special. But yeah. Robbie come and ran and jumped on us in the crowd. Well, the crowd, all 6 of us, and nearly broke my neck. But that was just made the journey home much, much more better. You kind of beat a last-minute winner.
Oh, brilliant. And number 2, Dan, the biggest low of the season for yourself?
Scunthorpe away. 6-0.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, I've followed Spenny for 32 years, and that was quite easily up there, one of the worst performances I've ever seen. You know, it was I don't even think you can say it was the occasion, because it wasn't an occasion. It was a league game, you know, and we just didn't get off the bus, and it was a hard watch. It was a hard watch.
Yeah. And yourself, Desi?
I'd probably have to go along the lines of that as well. Yeah, I mean, to get tonked 6-0 is never good. But I mean, at the end of the game, the lads still got a standing ovation from the fans, because there must have been 200 of us there. Great night, but I think the occasion probably took over for a lot of people, and then we lost Pollock sent off after half an hour, which didn't help. Yeah. But you write it off. It's just one of those things. Yeah. We got revenge on them at home, so
we did.
That made it feel better.
I think the hardest thing about that was, you know, I think we were 3rd or 4th and they were 2nd, I think. And you know, we went there with real belief that we were going to get something, and we were just humbled after about 15 minutes.
Yeah, not good. 3 and 4 kind of come at the same almost questions 1 or 2 for some of the guests that we had on so far. But number 3, Dan, your best match that you've attended?
You could have gave us these before we started. I don't know. We'll get some stick off the Darlington fans, but Darlington at home is always good. It's always special, you know. And we haven't had a particularly great record against them in the past, so you know, to go 1-0 down and then come back, win 2-1, you know, that was a big 3 points for us.
Yeah. And yourself, Desi?
I'm going to say Scunthorpe at home Tuesday night under the lights, under the situation at that time of the season. I'm not saying it was a must win, but it was important. And we fought out a really hard battle and 1-0 win. And I thought just the whole performance was superb from everybody that night.
Yeah. And number 4, maybe this could be the answer for number 2 as well. But if there's any other game as well, your worst match that you've been to, apart from the Scunthorpe one.
I'll go for Farsley, probably Farsley Celtic away on that Tuesday night. It was just, again, it was then a bit of a nothing. The performance wasn't great. The pitch wasn't great. Everything about it was just awful, to be honest.
I think South Shields away for me. You know, that was a great opportunity for us to sort of cement our place in and around the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And again, we didn't really turn up. We didn't really put a glove on them.
Yeah. Number 5, your best player of the season.
I voted for Rama in our player of the year thing. I thought, you know, when Taylor got injured and Rama got the armband, I thought he stepped up. I thought he was incredible. I thought, honestly, he just pushed us on and pushed us on and pushed us on. He ran his bollocks off, and he was just, yeah. I thought it was one of his best seasons in a Spennymoor shirt. I thought.
Yeah, and yourself, Dizzy?
Yeah, I'm same as Dan. I voted for Rama as well. I thought giving him the captain's armband, it's put him up to a different level. I thought it channeled his energy in the right way. As a leader, and he was just outstanding. Most goals he scored in the league, 10 assists, just an outstanding season, really.
Yeah. Number 6, I don't want to say the worst player, I think it's a bit unfair, but who would you say would be the biggest letdown, who you thought might have given a bit more but didn't really turn up on the day?
I don't know. I don't know about. I don't want to necessarily single anyone out.
Well, I'll go for Chimililo. I don't think he's had much of a run in the team, to be fair. So I think maybe he's expected a little bit more, but with the form of Corey and not getting a run in the team, he just hasn't. Maybe he's had the opportunities once and it just hasn't worked out for him yet. So I'll just say him.
I think maybe Keenan Ferguson. I think Keenan came with a lot of promise. He looked pretty sharp in pre-season, and I think some of his performances maybe just weren't quite up to the standard of what Spike required, especially when he came in. But lovely lad, talked to you after the game and everything, but yeah.
And then you could say Gallagher as well. He was another one who showed a bit of promise. Yeah. He got a few injuries, never really kicked on.
Yeah, it's nice only 1 or 2 because we asked the same question to Matthew last night. The Dan finally just got his list out and started going pretty much down. Pretty much down at there that many players didn't turn up last season, I think. Number 7, going in, you're the manager next season. Who would be that first player that you would sign? Any player from kind of obviously the non-league scene? Who would be that first player if you can sign anyone?
Brad James.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I'd probably go along with that as well. I think you've got to first. I think we've got to keep what we've got first, and then we'll have a look round after that who we need. There's a few decent players being left released by Hartlepool. We could maybe, with Graham Lee's connections, have a look at some of them. But I think realistically, we need to sign James and get as many of our own squad side up first, and then look elsewhere.
Yeah. And finally, number 8, Dan, what would you rate your season out of 10?
I'd go 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. I think at the start, like I said before, it had real promise. And then we went, 15, 16, 17 games without a win. And at that point, you're thinking it's a 2. And then we go on that unbelievable run and you miss out on the playoffs by a point. Yeah, I think it's a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I'll go for the first third. I'll give it 9. The middle third 5, and the last third 9. So if you want to add it up, it averages out at 8. Near enough, doesn't it? 7.66 or whatever.
No, but a lot more promising than what we've had so far. I think we've got, who's it next week? Gateshead and South Shields. So it could be around about the same, depending on how Gateshead get on the final of the weekend as well. So it's starting to get a bit more promising, the ratings out of 10. So it's nice to hear as well. But Dan, Desi, as always, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about the club that you love. It's always a pleasure having you on. Great fan. So thank you very much for coming on the show again.
No
Thank you very much for having us.
Excellent. And again, thank you everyone that's been watching as well. Really appreciate your support as always. But again, next week, 2 more shows to keep your eyes on the times and the dates for them as well. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night as well.